Hello everyone. I would like to share two short stories today. The first one is a loyal servant. During the Eastern Han Dynasty, there lived a man named Li Shan. He worked as a servant for a wealthy landlord named Li Yuan. Years later, Li Shan became a governor. One year, there was a plague. An old member of the landlord's family died. Only a 10-day-old infant named Li Xu survived. Greedy for the wealthy family's money and property, the servants planned to kill the infant and discuss how they would divide wealth. When Li Shan heard this, he waited until everyone was asleep. That night, he quietly took the baby and escaped to Xiaqiu County in the mountains. He raised the infant and took good care of him. He was as kind and deferential towards the child as he had been towards his master. When the boy was 10 years old, Li Shan took him home to his village. Because he had been gone so long, he had to rebuild his house. He also went to the local government and told them how the other servants had plotted to kill the boy. Years later, the other servants were severely punished. At this time, Zheng Liyi from Xiaqiu County strongly recommended Li Shan to the Emperor Liu Xiu. The emperor appointed him as a governor. When people heard this, they praised his appointment and said, Li Shan's kindness has moved heaven. On his way to his new post, Li Shan went to his old master's grave. He removed his official robes and respectfully knelt down. He said, My master, please be at ease. Your son has survived and is growing up. He worshipped at family's graves for several days and headed to his new post as governor. The second story, Kind heart was more valuable than pearls. A man named Ludao lived during the Tang Dynasty. He was well known for his kindness and even gave away some of his land. If someone he lent grain to was not able to repay him, Ludao just burned the debt contract. Although he was always kind and helped others, he never asked for anything in return. When his father passed away, his mother became very strict in managing the family. When she became ill, he showed his filial piety and stayed at her bedside day and night. One day, his mother sent the other sons away. She took out a strand of valuable pearls and handed them to Ludao. His mother said, You have always been very filial. You do not have any money saved. So if I were to die, you will not get these. Now take them and hide them in your room, and do not let your brothers know. Ludao was moved to tears and said, Father and you had very little money when you were married. Now, because of your hard work, we have land, house, cows, and sheep. I only wish that I could do more to repay everything you've done for the family. I do not dare to accept something so valuable. He refused to take the luxurious fees. Ludao loved his brothers. When it came time to divide the property, he gave the most fertile land and the large house to his brothers. Unfortunately, his brothers died young, so he took their children and raised them as his own. There was a poor farmer named Liu Xian who never raised enough crops to feed his family. Ludao gave him a piece of fertile land. He also allowed the farmers to rent his land. He took care of them and gave them food when they became too old to work. One year, locusts swarmed the area, and there was no harvest. No one was able to repay Ludao for the grain they borrowed from him, or for the rent they owed him. Ludao did not say a word. Instead, he quietly burned the debt contracts. Later, a deadly plague spread throughout the county. It was said that eating melons was effective because it caused one to sweat. When he heard this, Ludao bought some melons and went to each house handing out melons and rice. When someone warned him not to go to the homes of people who were ill, he did not listen. He felt that it was more important to help those suffering rather than being worried about being affected. If someone could not afford to pay for their relative's funeral, Ludao paid for the coffin and other related things. Everyone was deeply thanked him from their hearts and said that he was a good man. From these two stories, we can see that it's not difficult for a person to do a few good deeds in one's lifetime. But if a person can always think of others in everything for the whole life, this is no longer an ordinary noble behavior. Especially during the plague, facing life and death, his heart only thought about saving people, not considering himself at all. Such people are truly role models for people in the world today. Thank you very much for listening to the story. More touching stories will be ready for you if you just subscribe it. Thank you again.